Have you ever seen thousands of questions bring an entire restructure to a standstill? This happened a while back when I was working at a large Australian hospital. The Friday before Christmas, management dropped a full restructure notice on us. They wrapped it in polished corporate language, realignment, better patient outcomes, modernized workflow, but everyone knew what it really meant. Jobs were on the line. They announced the consultation would close during the first week of January, and the new structure would begin in February. Under our industrial award, genuine consultation is required. That means every affected worker must be given a fair chance to raise concerns, question decisions, and possibly change the employer's mind before any redundancy becomes final. A big reason this process matters is the payout system. In health, redundancy packages can be very generous. Someone who has worked 13 years receives the maximum, roughly a year's pay, tax-free, plus annual leave and long service leave. Every year of service adds value, up to that cap. Over 200 employees, around 5% of the entire staff, were set to be removed. Naturally, the unions challenged the timeline, arguing that a consultation period spanning Christmas was unreasonable. The industrial court agreed and extended the time frame by 2 weeks, but the judge added 2 firm notes. The court would not delay the restructure again. The unions were strictly allowed to consult, nothing more. Management walked out of that hearing acting like they had won outright. They felt unstoppable. They thought the judge's reminder meant we couldn't interfere and they could push everything through quickly, but the rule said we could consult, so we consulted as thoroughly as possible. All unions met and agreed on a simple approach. Every member would submit every question they could think of. Anything that required clarification, explanation, justification, or detail was welcome. My union alone collected more than 1,200 questions, with over 700 of them unique. The other unions gathered close to another 1,000. In the end, management received more than 2,000 questions that required answers. They were not pleased. They tried to proceed anyway, acting as if they could ignore the mountain of inquiries. So we returned to court and respectfully reminded the judge of his own order. Genuine consultation must occur. The court agreed and instructed the hospital to answer every question. Until then, the restructure was paused. 3 weeks later, management provided their answers. Every single response was a one-word placeholder. Yes, no, possibly unknown. This was not genuine by any definition. Back to court we went. This time, the judge was noticeably frustrated at management, not the unions. He reminded them that consultation wasn't optional, and dismissive answers did not meet the requirement. They argued there were too many questions to respond to. The judge simply repeated that they only had to consult in good faith. By June, nothing had moved. We were effectively in a legal holding pattern when management suddenly announced they were changing parts of the restructure in response to feedback. This meant a new structure, which legally required a new consultation period. They tried to avoid it. They tried to argue the changes were minor. The unions returned to court again, and again the judge sided with us. All we did, every single time, was follow the rule, submit questions, and wait for proper consultation. An entire year passed. In December, the hospital hired an outside consultant to force the restructure through. She approached the situation with the same rushed attitude as management, and immediately tried to fast-track the process. Again, no genuine consultation. Again, we went back to court. This time, the judge had reached his limit. He stated plainly that the unions had followed the rules every step of the way, while the hospital had repeatedly avoided them. The judge then ordered monthly meetings, chaired by him personally, to ensure the process stayed compliant. For the next several years, that became the system. In the end, the restructure took more than 3 years to complete. The number of removed positions was far smaller than the original plan. In several departments, we even gained roles by demonstrating workload demands. And those who did end up leaving were mostly nearing retirement and received very generous payouts, plus 3 extra years of service credit because the restructure stretched on for so long. All because we did exactly what the court said. We consulted.